What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to Tour Junkies After Dark, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We are the Tour Junkies. I'm your host, DB. I got Pat Perry with me. Listen, we know it's football season, and you guys don't really care, but there's money to be made in golf. You know what I mean? Money to be made in golf, and we're here to pick winners. So we're going to look at the betting board for the ZOZO Championship 2021. We're going to talk about our favorite outrights, maybe a couple top 10s we like. It's Monday night. We just recorded our own podcast, so we've had some thoughts. We've had some adult beverages, and we're ready to get this show on the road and, give out some winners. That's what we're here to do. So go ahead and give the channel a like, subscribe if you haven't already here on DraftKings, and maybe comment who you think is going to take this thing down and win it. We are at the Accordia Golf Narashino Country Club just outside of Tokyo, Japan. The tour's going overseas, all right? The ZOZO played here for the first time in 2019. We saw Tiger Woods win. It was his first win in a long time, part of that 2019 amazing comeback run, and it was just great to see. It's a par 70. It's a little over 7,000 yards, not very long. We saw Tiger win it at 19 under. Hagee was behind him at 16 under. The next group behind Hagee was at 13 under, and there were 9 players at 10 under or better. So the course played a little tougher than what we've seen open the PGA Tour season to this point. Right now, the sports books have the over-under at about minus 18.5 to be the winning score. So I do think it's going to be a little tougher test than what we're used to seeing. These greens are kind of small, so you're going to have, scrambling is going to be important. The fairways are kind of lined with trees. There's dog legs, but a lot of players can, still bomb it, cut the corners, whatever. The rough was not very penal in 2019. It's really all about how you play the golf course from your second shot in. So off the tee, you could be a bomber and bomb away and not care about the rough, or you could be kind of your accurate player, hit it in the fairway, hit it into these ZOZO fairways that the ball sits up real nice for you. Put it in there close on the greens and then make some putts. These are pure bent grass greens. These greens roll perfectly, perfect bent grass surfaces. 3 par 5s and 5 par 3s on this golf course, which is a little different than what we're used to seeing. Tons of bunkers, and the greens being smaller, that's kind of your defense of this course, okay? Also, don't forget, Japan is in the future, people. So
it's in the future.
It's in the future. So by Wednesday afternoon, you're going to need to have your bets locked in. You're going to need to have your DraftKings lineup submitted and ready to go. There's only about 78 players in this field. It's a no-cut event, all 4 rounds. Everybody's going to play all 4 rounds unless they withdraw for some reason. So you need to know that. And there's about 13 or so players, maybe more by this point, that are exempted from the Japan Golf Tour, which is a pretty competitive tour. It's a good tour, but not everyone in this field are regulars on the PGA Tour, and we have had some withdrawals as recently as today on Monday. Paul Casey withdrew, so the field is definitely much weaker than it was in 2019. A lot of guys don't want to travel during COVID, so that's kind of put a damper on the field here for the ZOZO. It's pretty top-heavy. There's a few names at the top like Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Willie Zalatoris. They kind of tip it off, and then it gets real rough real quick. But we're going to talk about every range here, Pat. Let's start at the top. I'll tell you the name I like the most up here is Will Zalatoris. I feel like we've been waiting on Will to break out. He nearly won the Masters putting on bent grass. Putting is obviously the deficit in his game. It's the only deficit in his game because the ball striking is absolutely tremendous. Since he's been on tour, he's been one of the best ball strikers on tour. But it's just comes down to the putter. Can he just break even in terms of strokes gained with the flat stick? If he can, he could win this event, and if he gains strokes, he could run away with it. He gains strokes, and it seems pretty variable, like for him with the putter. Who knows? He did miss the cut at the Shriners a couple weeks ago, but now he's got a little chance to rest. He started off the season with an 11th and a 14th in the first 2 events. I think this is a great spot for Will Zalatoris. And 18-1, I don't love paying the number, but I feel like it's an appropriate number for Will Zalatoris. So I like him up top.
Yeah, I'm with you totally. I think Willie Z is one of my favorite players up here at the top. I think it's a good number for him. If we're looking at the shorter odds guys at 18-1, I think this could be the event that finally he gets that victory because we know it's coming for Willie Z. I mean, it's coming.
Yeah,
so you might as well get him in an event that you think that he fits the course and he can obviously win. Now, I will say this: Ricky Fowler to me at 25-1 is a good number. Now you may say, what the hell? We haven't seen Ricky Fowler do anything good lately and whatever else, and he's not winning. But you know what? He played well last week at the CJ Cup. Could have won. Could have easily have won at the CJ Cup. You look at the stats for him from tee to green, ball striking, everything else. He was in great form compared to everybody else in the field. So if Ricky Fowler at 25-1, I think actually makes a lot of sense. And so if I'm looking at two guys up here at the very top, Ricky Fowler and Willie Z are my favorites. And here's another thing about Ricky is the narrative of the fact that he really needs to play good in these events. Okay. This event matters to him. There's a lot of people that are here because it's a little bit of a money grab. It's no cut. They get to, travel or whatever, or maybe they don't want to travel.
He's not in any majors yet to this point, I don't think.
So there's a lot of things that Ricky has to play for this week. And I think that matters, as far as, him getting a win or whatever else. Or if you just want to bet him at a top 5 at 5-1 or a top 10 at 2-1. I mean, either way, even 2-1, you're getting plus money. Ricky Fowler at 2-1. So there you go.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the best value given what we've been used to seeing Ricky at here lately. But I do think you ride the hot form. He just did everything so well last week. And you're right. He is a guy as motivated as anyone to come here and win and take advantage and keep the form going, keep it cooking. So I think that's a good one to see, to go ahead and pay for, just the 25-1. There's a lot of picks in here because of how bad this field is. You just got to hold your nose and click the button. It just is what it is. So let's move a little further down the board, Pat, kind of this mid-range. We say mid-range, but in golf, these are long shots, really. I love KH Lee.
Yep.
KH Lee's at 50-1. This is his first time playing in the ZOZO Championship, but he comes in. He won his first PGA Tour event back in the summer at the Byron Nelson. That was in May. He followed that up with a 6th place finish at the 3M Open, a 12th at the BMW, and in a FedEx Cup playoff event. Started the new season, a miscut, but then a 14th at the Shriners and a 25th last week. KH Lee's a guy that just kind of does everything pretty well. Not saying every week he gains strokes everywhere in every category, but typically a pretty good ball striker, typically pretty good around the greens. The putter's a little lacking, but he's gained strokes in his last 2 events with the putter, and I think he's really confident. We heard some interviews from him last week. Super confident, ready to go, and this event would mean a lot to him as well. So I think KH is one that you look at here at 50-1. Moving down the board a little bit, Luke List, to me, we talk about Luke List a lot on this show because he's a buddy. We just interviewed him on our YouTube channel. It was a great interview. We like Luke a lot. He's still waiting to get that first big PGA Tour win. It all comes down to the putter for Luke. All comes down to the putter. But on weeks where he can just, look at the John Deere back in July. He literally finished basically 0 in terms of strokes gained. So he didn't lose strokes putting like he normally does. And he finished 4th. Like, all you need for Luke is one hot week, and he's up there and he's in the running. He's been knocking on the door so much, and the ball striking is so good. 60-1 in the off chance that the putter shows up, I think is worth it for Luke List.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind Luke. I've always said that he's never won anybody any money, but you know what? A few weeks ago, he won some people some money. So I'll defer to that. Now, here's a guy that I like a lot this week, is CT Pan. He's coming off of 11th place finish at Sanderson Farms, T6 at the Fortinet Championship. He's at 45-1. I think that is a really good number for him, and a guy that, we saw play well at the Olympics in Japan a few weeks ago. So CT Pan,
I like him.
I think is a good pick this week. And you look at the stats. He's a great ball striker, great on approach. Top 15 in the field in both of those. Top 15 in greens and regulation. Putts pretty well on bent grass greens. So I think CT Pan makes a lot of sense there. That 45-1 number. If you look at where he is on that same number. A top 5 is 7-1, or even a top 10 at 3-1. I think both of those are still some pretty good value there for CT Pan. in this range. And then, a couple other guys. I think Adam Schenk, he's right there at 55-1. He's another guy, 50-1. He's another guy that we've seen play, well recently. This is a good course fit for him. So Adam Schenk there at 50-1, I think is a pretty good number. And then Henrik Norlander at 65-1. That maybe checked. I may have checked out and missed you talking about Norlander.
No, I did not.
I'm surprised you didn't mention him. Right in this middle range. But I like Henrik Norlander at 65-1. Another great course fit for him. We've seen him play well recently also. So I think that Henrik Norlander at 65-1 is another good bet. You get him at 10-1 to top 5 or 4.5-1 as a top 10 bet.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, Henrik's another one of those guys like Luke. It feels like if somebody in this, if Morikawa, Xander, Zalatoris, Hideki, Fowler, if those guys don't win this week, it could very likely be a first-time tour winner. Because, I mean, after that, there's not a lot that separates the rest of this field, especially in this mid-range.
But I feel like this is a week where it's kind of like what I think about last week. So we had a guy like Rory win at shorter odds, and I'm not looking at the top 10, so I don't really know all of them. I'm just kind of going off of what I was seeing.
You had Keith Mitchell at third.
Yeah, so you had several people that were longer odds to maybe finish top 10 or top 5 that were up there. I think it's kind of the same this week. Like, you can take, like, if you don't necessarily want to bet a guy to win outright, like Henrik Norlander, but you get that 10-1 top 5 or 4.5-1 top 10, I think there's some good value there in a lot of these guys. And I think you see that more so in events like this with no cut. And so that's why I think these top 5 and top 10 numbers have a lot of value to them this week.
Yeah, last week you had Mitchell, you had Streb, Higgs, all finished in the top 10. Those are probably all long top 10 numbers, in a field like that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's keep working down the board a little bit. Just some favorite bets here, I guess. I love Tom Hagee at 100-1. I mean, or you could go, what is he, 6-1, top 10. I like the top 10 numbers rather than the top 20 numbers. It's half the field we're used to seeing for a full field event on the PGA Tour. So you may as well cut that down. So top 10 makes more sense. But I mean, Hoagie's ball striking since the new PGA Tour season started has been tremendous, and it usually is anyway. But it's been really solid in the first 4 events. And he's another guy that just needs a little bit of magic with the flat stick that could happen any week. So 100-1, he's another guy who's been in a lot of a lot of the final groups late on a Sunday in the last year or two. So he's got a little bit of scar tissue built up of not being able to close the door. I think if he gets an opportunity, we could see a different outcome with him. But the 6-1 top 10 feels really nice as well. And then working down a little bit, I'll give you one last play. This is a bomb. This is a bomb outright, but Sung Kang at 150-1. Mm-hmm. So if you see, if you're not a regular, player on golf better or whatever, Sung Kang's a staple on the PGA Tour. He's been around for a few years. He played this event in 2019, finished 17th. He's just such a boom or bust play. When he's on, he has potential to go stupid low. He won the Byron Nelson in 2019. He's got a bunch of top 5s to his PGA Tour career. I think he's only got that one win, but he could just get hot. And he played pretty decent at the CJ Cup. He played pretty decent at the Shriners, the Wyndham last year to end the PGA Tour season. The flat stick is kind of working for him at the moment. He's aggressive off the tee. He can score in bunches, and he's 150-1 on DraftKings outright or 8-1 for a top 10. That'd be a bomb, but maybe worth a little look.
Okay. Well, I'll end with a few here that I like. One, and I don't mind Hagee. I think that's a good play. I think that, and I don't mind Sung Kang. I think that's another good play also. But here's a few that I think you want to look at, especially in this longer shot area. Brandon Hagee is 130-1. I think that's a good number for him. Long hitter, has shown some flashes of very good play recently. You can get him at 16-1 to top 5 or 7-1 for a top 10. Another guy that I like down here, and this is I haven't even mentioned him all night.
I
haven't mentioned him one time, but we saw him play well at the Putnam Championship, very well. He also played well at the tournament we don't like to talk about, which I'm just not going to even say.
Don't say the name.
Chesson Hadley. Hadley at 150 to 1. I don't think he's going to win. Nope. But you know what? If you want to take him top 5 at 20 to 1 or top 10 at 8 to 1, I think that could be a number for him. Like, this is a course for Chesson Hadley. It's short. There's not a whole lot. There's dog legs. It's a placement course. You got to put it off the tee in the right areas, in the greens in the right areas. That's what Chesson Hadley does. I mean, it's just like the Putnam Championship at Sedgefield. Same exact thing. You're getting Chesson Hadley at those long numbers. I think that's pretty good. Outside of that, Andrew Putnam is another one. He's 130 to 1 to win, 16 to 1 as a top 5, 7 to 1 as a top 10. I think Andrew Putnam makes a lot of sense. He's played well recently. He's a guy that's won on tour before, has a lot of experience. So I like that for him. So there you go.
I like it. Listen, get the bets in before, like I said, early Wednesday tee off if you're here in the States. They're in the future, living in the future out there in Japan. So go ahead and do that. Give the video a thumbs up if you don't mind. Subscribe and subscribe to the DraftKings YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel as well on Tour Junkies. We spun the betting wheel of misery last week. Jason Day, Pat had Jason Day. I had Cam Davis. He lost the bet. So Pat had to take down a spoonful of baby food peas. There it is right there. Good God. Had to take down a spoonful of baby food on our betting podcast, our full-on betting preview. We also did the DraftKings DFS preview over there every week, as we always do. So check that out, Tour Junkies on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let's bet the ZOZO. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, there's college football. Sure, there's NFL. But what would you have to do, like a 40-way college football NFL parlay to get 150 to 1 like you could get Sung Kang over here? It could happen. Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, never know.
There's probably legitimately only 40 to 50 guys in this entire field that honestly have a chance to win the golf tournament, the slightest chance, So there you go. Try that. Hope your screens are green in DFS. Get that winning ticket on DraftKings Sportsbook, and we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Oh!